name is Sheila Gold. I am the Executive Director of Recruitment and Admissions for Tulane School of Professional Advancement. I am joined by two of my colleagues, Dalila Omer-Bashik, who is the Director of the Prior Learning Program. You're going to be hearing mostly from her. She knows all things about this program. And then our colleague, Ann Conlin, is behind the scenes, letting people into the room, running the slides, making all the magic happen. Just to let you know, if you have any questions during this program, please drop them in the chat. That's the only way we'll be able to see your questions. So we're thrilled that you're with us, and we will get going. So just a little bit of background for those of you who are not current SoPA students. SoPA is the name that we give to the School of Professional Advancement. Tulane University is a university made up of 10 smaller schools, one of which is the School of Professional Advancement. SoPA, as we call it, is the unit of the university that is available to working adults, non-traditional students, both at the undergraduate and graduate level. Many of our students have been out in the workforce for a period of time and may have some professional experience that they bring with them into the classroom. And so we try to reward that experience by offering the opportunity to students to get credit for some of that, and they may be able to get credit for knowledge and not have to take a class. So we're going to learn a little bit more about that in depth today. But we just like to orient people to where we sit within the university. The picture in front of you at the top right is our building where the administrative offices for the School of Professional Advancement sit. Dalila may be sitting in them right now. So she can wave from outside of her window. But if you're ever on campus, stop by and say hi. And then a couple other sort of iconic images from Tulane. Our bead tree, which is the tree where students during Mardi Gras get beads and throw them onto the tree. Of course, the historic St. Charles streetcar line. And then the mural Where You Belong was actually painted on the wall in one of the open public spaces in the SoPA offices by some of our students. So the message is always true. Our students belong at the school, and we certainly love to have you come and spend some time with us when you're on campus. So I am going to turn things over to Dalila to walk us through the program.
Thanks so much, Sheila, and hi, everybody. Thanks again for taking time out of your day to join us for this webinar. I am sitting in Richardson Hall, and I think you can maybe see that tree right behind me that was in the picture. I am excited to talk to you about prior learning assessment today. As Sheila noted, if you have any questions, you can just put them in chat, and we'll address them as we go through the webinar. We're going to be sharing a lot of information with you. So if any questions come up afterwards, feel free to reach out and follow up. But one of the most exciting things about being a coordinator for prior learning assessment is that I get to know a lot of students, and I get to learn about all kinds of different backgrounds that you all bring with you to your learning here at SoPA. And what prior learning allows you to do is take that experience and demonstrate through an assessment process how it aligns with different courses that we offer. So we consider experiences in professional settings, any professional setting outside of the classroom, which can include work experiences, it can include volunteer or community service, as well as military training. And then credit for prior learning can be awarded primarily for applied coursework. So coursework in our applied programs like IT, digital design, kinesiology, homeland security, emergency security studies, legal studies, lots of different options. But it doesn't apply to liberal arts courses for the most part. And it also excludes capstones, internships, and any courses that include lab work as part of it. So we offer prior learning assessment to both undergraduate and graduate students. Graduate undergraduate students can earn up to 24 credits through this assessment process. This counts towards your maximum of 60 credits that you can transfer in as an undergrad. So this means that if you're transferring in 60 credits, then you can't earn additional credits through prior learning. Let's see, would you mind repeating what is excluded? So capstones, so any course that kind of comes at the end of your degree or major, and then courses that have experiential requirements, internships, and any coursework that has labs. So anything that has a lab included in addition. And then most of our liberal arts courses, so things like history, English, things like that are generally not covered under prior learning assessment. One of the few liberal arts courses that we do offer the program for is speech. So if you have experience in public speaking, you may be able to earn credit for that, but most of the other liberal arts courses are not eligible. So going back to the options for undergraduate students, so 24 prior learning credits. These types of credits can be earned through portfolio assessment or standardized assessments. And they also note that they do not count towards the school's residency requirement. And they may also not be transferable to other divisions at Tulane. So if you earn prior learning credit at SoPA and you decide to transfer to the School of Engineering, that credit might not be transferable. And then for graduate students, you may earn up to 6 prior learning credits, and that can only come through portfolio assessment. So as mentioned, there are different types of prior learning assessment that we accept. So one of them is credit by examination. These are basically standardized tests, sort of like your ACTs or SATs. And there are different types. There's CLEP and DSST. Typically, these are for undergraduate students, and they cover really introductory topics. So things like accounting 101, for example, or math, calculus, things like that. So these are basically tests that you pay a fee for. It's and the last time I checked, it was about $85 to take the test. And then if you meet a certain cutoff, you earn credits for that class. And then also, if you're proficient in a language other than English, you may be able to earn credit for through language proficiency testing. This is done through Tulane. And there are also fees associated with it, but it's generally kind of in the more reasonable fee range, about $85 to $100. And then most of the time today, we will be talking about portfolio development process. So this is an opportunity that we offer for those students who have really specific experience that aligns with coursework that we offer at SoPA. What this means is that you may be able to take the experiences you've gained through your work experience, community engagement, and then describe those experiences in relation to a class that you would normally have to take as part of your major. So the way that the process works is that first you would meet with an advisor to identify courses in which you would have prior experience. You can start by either meeting with me, or you can meet with your program director or major advisor. And then once you identify courses that may be a good fit for this process, you would then learn how to create a portfolio. So, what are the different requirements? What are the different steps? What do you have to write? What do you have to bring to the process? And then you would actually write the portfolio. So portfolio is basically a narrative, so it's like a longer term paper. It typically average around 20 pages for undergraduate students, 20 to 30 for graduate students. And then you would also include any supplementary information or documentation that you have that supports your narrative. And then once you're done, you would submit it for assessment. And this goes to a faculty member who reviews it and determines whether that narrative is the equivalent of what you would have learned if you had taken the class. So let's talk about these in a little more detail and see what this looks like. So for undergraduate students, you would start with a course. So this is a class that prepares you to develop a portfolio. This does not count towards your 24-hour maximum. It is a class like any other class that we offer. It's 3 credits and it fulfills a general elective. And it's called portfolio development. It's offered every semester. It's online. The prerequisites are English 1010 and a 2.0 GPA. And the tuition for the class includes 3 portfolio assessments. So in this class, you learn how to create a portfolio, and then you will apply that knowledge to potentially 3 different portfolio assessments for 3 different courses that you're seeking credit for. And basically, the only tuition that you're paying is for PAPL 1000. So potentially, you are getting 12 credits for the course for the price of 1 class. And then for graduate students, we have a self-guided portfolio development course, which is a self-guided online workshop, which also prepares you and explains the process and teaches you basically how to write your narrative. And once you go through that workshop, then you're ready to create your portfolio, develop your narrative, and then submit it for assessment. The cost for graduate students is the cost of 1 credit, 1 course credit, which right now is $1,158. And you're able to earn up to 6 credits maximum through this process. So as noted earlier, each portfolio is developed in alignment with the course that we offer. So these are courses in our applied programs, as noted, and they're written narrative that includes supplementary documents. The key to a successful portfolio is that the narrative that you create and develop has to show mastery of all of the learning outcomes for a particular class. So when you look at your syllabus, for example, on the first or second page of your syllabus, you will see course learning outcomes or course learning objectives. And these are basically the goals for the class. These are the things that you will be able to do once you complete that class. Through the portfolio process, you are demonstrating that you already have that knowledge. You do not need to take this class because you've already acquired this knowledge through a different process, whether it's work experience or other professional or community engagements. Let's see, next slide. So here we have an example. This is a class that we've had a lot of undergraduate students complete because anybody that works in an office has had these types of experiences. So this is CPSD 1400, Internet Collaboration. And these are the learning outcomes that are listed for this class. So what this means is that if you take CPSD 1400, by the end of the class, you will be able to do these six things. And so through a portfolio, what you're doing is demonstrating that you've already gained this knowledge through experience. So what your portfolio will look like is a narrative that describes each one of these points. So for example, explain the best use cases for internet collaboration. That would be a section in your portfolio. This is where you would describe different types of internet collaboration activities that you've done through your professional experiences. And then if you, for example, completed a training or have given a presentation on internet collaboration, you would be able to then attach that as a supplementary document that illustrates that what your narrative is describing has some other supporting activities or supporting trainings. So again, in order to receive credit, you would have to address each one of these outcomes. If you were able to address 5 and not 6, then you would not pass and you would not receive credit for the course. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but you can, again, post them in the chat. And so what does the assessment process look like? So once you finish your portfolio, it is assigned to a faculty member to review. So it goes to a faculty member at SoPA. Usually it's somebody that already teaches that class or has deep expert knowledge in that topic. And all assessors use a standardized rubric. So they are all evaluating the portfolios in the same way. And the portfolios are evaluated based on both content and style. Content is definitely more important because, again, you have to demonstrate knowledge of all of the outcomes, but also style, citation, formatting, and things like that are also part of your final score. And then if you earn a passing score of the portfolio, then you would earn credit for that class. So for example, in case of internet collaboration, if you receive a passing score, we will forward that to the registrar's office and they will post it on your transcript as credit by examination. So you would not receive a grade, you would receive your 3 credits and credit by examination as a grade. All right, let's see. Somebody just asked, they're transferring 60 credits. Can I still do a portfolio based on experience for additional credit? No. So your portfolio credits count towards that 60 credit maximum. So if you're already transferring in 60, then you cannot transfer additional credits or earn any additional credits through assessment, whether it's portfolios or standardized testing. All right, so you can keep the questions going in the chat. And I will hand it over to Sheila to talk more about the admissions process. And there is a question about admissions as well, so I will just let her answer that as well.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, so we will look into the application question and get back to you directly after this webinar. But in terms of the application, our application is an electronic application. It lives on our website, sopa.tulane.edu. That address is in the left corner of this slide. There's a big button at the top that says apply. You decide whether you are applying for undergraduate or graduate and pick that application and then open it up. Our application has a $40 fee for undergraduates, $50 for graduates. If you are a current applicant, we can go ahead and waive that fee for you for attending this webinar. So thank you. Our applications require a current government ID, which is basically taking a picture of your driver's license with your phone. Go ahead and just upload that to the application. We will need transcripts from every school from which you've attended. So go ahead and send those to you. You can send them either electronically or through the mail. Electronic is a little faster and it also reduces the chances of transcripts getting lost in the mail. So that's probably the preferred method, but some schools don't offer electronic transmission. So you can go ahead and send those through the US Postal Service. And then for our graduate applications, you will be required to submit 2 short written statements and generally a resume. So that is our application process. We try to make it as straightforward and as transparent as possible. However, there are always questions. So go ahead and email us. If you have any questions, we are happy to hear from you. We enjoy getting to know our students. And that process of getting to know you starts in the admissions process. So please feel free to reach out and do not feel like you need to be shy about that. Some deadlines that you should know. We are currently accepting applications for spring, which is the January semester. So that's coming up soon. Our deadline is January 1st. However, you do not need to wait until any application deadline. We accept applications on a rolling basis, and we will get an admissions decision to you as soon as we receive all of your materials. So if you're applying for spring, go ahead, get that in. Registration opens for spring actually November 6th. So if you go ahead and register for classes by December 1st, you will receive an early enrollment scholarship. Our next semester is our summer semester. Our deadline is May 1, but once again, go ahead and get your application in early. And if you register for classes by April 25th, you will get an early registration scholarship. And then if you want our traditional fall start, our application deadline is August 1, but you could go ahead and get those in right now. And if you register for classes by June 1, you will receive our early enrollment scholarship. So just go ahead, get those in. $200 for undergraduates, $500 for graduate students. It's an easy way to get a little financial help for your first semester. Okay, so that is our webinar. You can reach me by email at sgold@tulane.edu. There is a phone number on the screen. Don't call me. I am never sitting in front of my phone, but I am always sitting in front of my email. And you have Dalila's email in front of you as well. I believe that most of the questions are being answered in the chat. So if there are any of you who have questions, like I said, after this, you can go ahead and email us, and we will be more than happy to reach out to you. There is no application code fee waiver. We will capture your attendance at this at this webinar. And when you submit your application, it will just skip asking you for a fee. We will automatically waive the fee for you. I don't know if I
There's one
see.
question. Sheila, there's a question about differences in scholarships for MAT and MED.
So, you know what? We will capture that question and reach out to you afterwards. Essentially, the MAT is very different. The MAT is really for local students who can get their master's subsidized by teaching in Orleans Parish Public Schools. If that's what you're interested in, the MED does not have that applied to them. The only scholarships that apply to the MED are our normal 20% discount. So if you fall into one of the categories, those can apply to the MED.
And then there's a question about current experience. So that's a great question because we keep talking about previous experiences, but this includes your current experiences as well. So say, for example, you're a budget administrator currently, and there is an accounting class that we offer that aligns really closely with what you're doing right now. You would go through the same process. You would describe your current experiences, the current work that you're doing, as well as things that you've done before that have built up to what you're working on at the moment. So you can still earn credit through the same process. So it would be again, the same assessment process.
Great. And then I saw one question about, I'm assuming for the application fee. If you're a current student, we can't waive your application fee, but if you're still in the application process, you have not enrolled yet, and you've paid your fee, go ahead and email me and I can refund you the fee for attending this webinar.
How far back will previous experience be considered for credit? That's a tricky question. It really depends on what it is. So I recently was working with somebody who was a paralegal maybe 25 years ago, and was considering doing some of the prior learning assessments for a general legal studies program. But then found that it was difficult to, go back and sort of remember all of the things, and then also be able to reflect on the current trends and the current expectations in the field. So it really depends. I think same thing for IT, right? If you were in IT 25 years ago, the requirements are likely different right now. But it not necessarily. So it really will require you to meet with an advisor and discuss sort of how your experience aligns. But we don't have any limits explicitly. It's more of a reflective process that lets you figure out what you can and can't write about. And the maximum credit that can count. So again, for undergraduate, it is 24 credits. So that would basically mean eight different portfolios, 8 different narratives that you would have to write that can count towards prior learning assessment, or a combination of portfolios and standardized tests. And for graduate students, it's 6. So basically two portfolios that describe your experiences for 2 courses. I think that's all of the questions.
Okay, great. Well, we appreciate everybody being with us today. If you have questions, like I said, you can either email me or Dalila, and we are thrilled. Wait, there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So wait, I think I just saw SoPA.
So I can answer the graduate.
Yeah, for the tuition waiver, you need to reach out to HR to make sure that you qualify for it. But if you do, it applies to most of our programs. And then there's a question about an elective.
Well, there was a question too about graduate students. If your experience does not align with the course that we offer, but generally fits within the program, unfortunately, there is no way that we can accept that that experience for credit, because the only way that we can do it is through assessment, and it's assessed through the portfolio process. So it has to align with the course learning outcomes for the class. And could it qualify as an elective? No, because again, it would have to align with the learning outcomes for a particular class. So if it doesn't directly translate to something, then we can't assess it, basically.
All right. Well, look, thank you, everybody. We appreciate you being here. We hope that this answered many of your questions. A few of you we're going to reach out to offline. And like we said, if you have any other questions, give us a little email, put it in our inbox, and we will get back to you. But we certainly hope that we will be welcoming you to Tulane SoPA very soon. And for those of you who are current SoPA students, we hope you're having a great time. We appreciate you being here, and we look forward to cheering you on as you move towards graduation. So thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.